This is the Comics Alternative Kickstarter, Discovering Life in Space. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Comics Alternative Kickstarter. I'm Derek, and this is the weekly series where I talk with people who have comics-related campaigns on Kickstarter. And this week, I have the pleasure of talking with Mike Emeritz and Marshall Lee. They are two of the people behind the Kickstarter Life in Space, a comic book anthology. Mike and Marshall, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And, an obvious place to begin is with you informing us what Life in Space is all about, how you came up with the idea. In other words, just give us a pitch about what's your Kickstarter and why people should back it.
Cool. Do you want to take this one, Marsh?
I think you're pretty good at this. Go ahead.
Okay. So a little over a year ago, Marsh and myself and another friend of ours, Chris McQuinlan, we had all done the 100 Days of Making Comics, which is it was an online challenge started by Kevin Cross, who's also the creator of the Monkey Mod and Friends show comic. He kind of took it upon himself to start this challenge to help himself start finding more time in his day to work on his own personal projects. He wasn't finding enough time, so he made this challenge up, and it just started inspiring a bunch of people. And so Marsh actually jumped on kind of, I think, during Kevin's second round of doing the 100 days. And what it is you do 30 minutes a day for 100 days, you work on your comic. It's kind of like a self-improvement sort of thing. So all of us had done this, and it had been a few years since the challenge had been going. So there was, quite a few people that had done it already. And Marsh, me, and Chris started doing these Google Hangouts to just work on art, work on our comics, and just talk and get to know each other better. And it was through that we started talking about, well, hey, why haven't we done a book yet? Like, this thing has been going on for a long time, and we're all comic creators. Why hasn't anybody thought to put comics into a book that, to help promote the group and stuff? And so that's kind of where it started. And from there, Chris made a post in our little group on Facebook, seeing if anybody would be interested. And sure enough, a lot of people were. And so we made a private Facebook page to kind of organize it. And then just by the seat of our pants, we started piecing it together, and we would vote on different things. Do we want this to be in color? Do we want this to be in black and white? What kind of theme do we want? And all that kind of stuff. And in like maybe a month or two, we had a pretty solid plan that we were all going to do, this many pages for our comics, and it was going to be this theme, and we were going to get it done in 100 days, just like with the challenge, and that we were going to start on January 1st. And the whole thing just snowballed, and everybody that participated finished all the way through. And then throughout the rest of that year afterwards, we slowly started putting together the book and then putting together the Kickstarter. And it just happened. I mean, it was a lot of like planning along the way, but it really snowballed into where we're at now, where we have this Kickstarter and we actually have the finished book. It's pretty cool.
So you do, I mean, the project is finished, right? You have the anthology about ready to go?
Absolutely, 100% finished. We even printed a test copy of the book before we even launched the Kickstarter.
That's good, because there are those horror stories out there. I've never experienced this when I've backed anything on Kickstarter, but I've heard many others say that they back something and either they almost never get it or it takes forever to get it because the creator didn't plan ahead. But you guys definitely don't have that problem.
No, definitely not.
Now, you were talking about getting together with other creators and deciding on a theme to your project. This is called Life in Space. So obviously this has a science fiction or space or even science emphasis to it. What made you decide on that particular idea?
Well, like Mike said, we asked everybody. We kind of put like a survey out to the whole group, and we had a few different things. But we all decided life in space, and the thing that's kind of cool about it is it's not, the theme didn't have to be like, necessarily your typical sci-fi. It could be literally any way that you kind of want to interpret that theme. So like at least one of our people who did it, it actually did a story kind of on Earth, but it was like people who were like spaced out, like, so it's kind of like, it depends on how you interpret it. But for the most part, everybody did something sort of sci-fi related. Some of it's, comedy, some of it's more of an adventure, some of it's more just, I don't know. There's all kinds of like basically genres in it. And I think it turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's a list of creators on your Kickstarter site. It looks like that there are, I don't know if this is a list of everyone, but I see 19 people who are contributing to this anthology.
Yeah, actually, now that we hit our first stretch goal, too, there's 20, because the guy that had created the 100 Days of Making Comics, Kevin Cross, decided to allow us to use one of his comics that he made with another creator, Mark Rudolph. And once we hit that stretch goal, he said that we could put his comic in. So now we've got a total of, I believe, 15 comics and 20 creators. So, yeah, it's a medley of comics.
Huh. And no, you were mentioning all of these creators. How do you know the various contributors? I mean, did you know everyone when you guys first started to talk about this project? Did others kind of come on board as you were going along in terms of planning this?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think we all kind of knew about each other just sort of through the challenge, because one of the stipulations of the challenge is that you have to make a video. Well, you don't have to, but it's highly recommended that you do make a video so that you can hold yourself accountable. So most of us were making, 100 videos and commenting and kind of getting to know each other that way. We didn't really have many people in the book that we weren't already at least somewhat familiar with through the challenge.
Okay. So you say that there are 20 creators behind this. About how many pages will Life in Space be, or how it is, since you already have it at least one printed up?
Yeah, I think, let's see.
I think it's 136, right?
136 sounds right. Yeah, 136 now with Kevin's comic added. Yep.
Cool. I mean, that's going to be a good, hefty tome. And, let's talk about some of the specifics of this campaign. Now, as you mentioned, you've already reached your goal, and you guys set a goal at $1,650. And you're almost exactly, twice that right now. Yeah. So, again, congratulations on not only meeting the goal, but doubling, in essence, what you've done so far. And you still have, as of this recording, 17 days to go. So your Kickstarter campaign will end on Sunday, February 4th at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So any of our listeners who want to back this, again, you have until Sunday, February 4th at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to do this. Now, let's talk about some of the goals, or I'm sorry, the pledge levels that you have. So tell me about those.
Well, we have, kind of the basic stuff, the book and everything. And then, obviously, then we have, the digital download and stuff. And then I think the first tier that kind of bumps it up a little bit is an 11 by 17 fold-out poster of the cover, which Kevin Cross created, and it's an amazing cover. Like, I can't wait to get my copy and throw it up on my wall. And let's see, then we got the trading card set, which that's like the next level. Obviously everybody gets everything kind of below it. And then we start getting into like the original art stuff. So we got like a sketch combo where people do the creators do a 5x7 sketch. There's original pages. There's also we have, I think our biggest level is a 1 hour hangout with Kevin Cross, most likely myself and Mike, and possibly some other people who are creators in the book. And, you know, what happens a lot of times with these things is it attracts other creators a lot of times. So, you know, this is an opportunity for somebody who might be like a new at making comics to talk to some people who have a little more experience. I mean, we're all somewhat new, you know, except for maybe Kevin, but we're all somewhat new at making comics, but we've had some experience, and obviously now we've put together a book and stuff. So, you know, even just to talk, chat, and if you had any questions, you know, that would be a cool opportunity.
Mm-hmm. You know, you've mentioned a few times, both of you, Kevin Cross's cover, and I will put an image of this up in the show notes, of course. I really like this because not only is it a really cool cover in terms of a great illustration, but it has a feel of kind of older science fiction stuff from, let's say, the 1950s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does, I think, set a really nice tone for what you're doing. Now, you know, Marshall, you were talking about the various reward levels. Let's just really briefly mention some of these. So the basic one that you mentioned, of course, people can back it for any amount, like $1, and
sure.
just say, hey, here's $1. Good luck, guys. But if they pledge $10 or more, they get the digital book. For $20, they get a physical copy. And then at the $30 level, there's the poster combo that you had mentioned. $45, the trading card combo. And then at $75, you get the 5x7 sketch combo. $100, the retail combo. And then it goes up from there. So you guys do provide quite a number of options for people to back you. And in fact, I guess the biggest one is at the, $500 reward level, which you call the Space Cadet combo.
Yeah.
So you get the 1 hour Google Hangout, which, Marshall, you mentioned, that really cool poster of the cover, the physical copy of the book, digital download, trading card set, a bookmark, an exclusive bookmark, and the backer's name in the thank you section. So
and also an 11x17 art commission too in that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So you guys are really providing people with a lot to back the $500 level. Now you have no backers yet at $500, but we have a little over 2 weeks as we record this. So let's hope that somebody, at least one person, decides to pony up $500 for you. Now, if they want to find out more about Life in Space, a comics anthology, obviously they can go to Kickstarter and do a search for Life in Space and find it very quickly. But
correct.
If they wanted to find out more about who you guys are and what kind of comics work you've done, do you have websites, blogs, Facebook accounts that people can go to and find out more about who you are and maybe communicate with you about this?
Sure, yeah. Right now you can find me easiest at spacecatcomics.com. That'll actually take you straight to my store page, which then has links to all of my social media stuff like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think the both of us have done a few rounds of the 100 days, so we have plenty of videos if you want to watch all of those to get to know us. But that's pretty much for me. What about you, Marsh?
Oh, yeah. My main link is donkeyjawprojects.com. That's just my main site where I run all my comic projects out of. And, you can find the links to all the YouTube stuff and all that there. I actually just restarted the 100 Days of Making Comics for another round yesterday, so that'll be fun. And also, one cool thing is we bought a URL for the actual 100 Days of Making Comics. So 100daysofmakingcomics.com is like the main, it's going to be a main website, but right now it just goes straight to the Kickstarter.
Yeah, so that's another easy way to find the Kickstarter too. Just 100, so 100daysofmakingcomics.com. And when the Kickstarter is over, we're actually going to finally build an official website for our group too that should showcase everybody that's done the challenge and have links to all their stuff too.
That's great. And, a couple times you've mentioned another project coordinator that you've been working with, Chris McQuinlan. So he wasn't able to join us today. But if someone wanted to look into more of what Chris does, where could they go for his information?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's chrismcquinlan.com, isn't it, Marsh?
Oh, McQuinlan, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also, if you look up Monkey Junk, like just type that into Google, I'm sure you'll find his webcomic. It's on a couple places, so it's a webcomic he does.
His main site is Chris McQuinlan Art. But if you just type chrismcquinlan.com, you can find him straight away there. And it looks like he just updated it, so he has links to all of his socials there, too.
Okay, so again, the project is Life in Space, a comic book anthology. This is a part of the Make 100 campaign that Kickstarter has going on. Go to Kickstarter, look for Life in Space, and you will quickly, easily find this project. Again, it ends on Sunday, February 4th at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Marshall, Mike, thank you very much for coming on the Comics Alternative Kickstarter series and talking about Life in Space.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having us. It's fun.
Yeah, it was great talking with you guys, and good luck with everything. And we will be back next week with another comics-related Kickstarter campaign. Take care.